Hello, and welcome back to the Steady Darts podcast. My name is Scott O'Neill. I am joined by Kieran Morahan. Kieran, how are you doing?
Really looking forward to the month of darts starting now. It's an exciting time in the world of darts. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Christmas is almost here, which means Alexandra Palace and the World Darts Championship is almost here as well.
Yeah, Christmas does begin on Thursday for anyone like you and me who are just big darts fans. And today we will be doing our World Championship preview. We'll be running through all sorts of different categories, all sorts of things. But first of all, just how excited are you to be watching darts all day, every day, once again at
Do you
Christmas?
know what's brilliant about it is that it's been the same for so many years, and I've been so excited to watch it every day, every afternoon, every evening. And now there's more. There's 32 more players. So we get more. I get to feel more unemployed every single session that goes by because it's just great. Yeah. Some of the matches, some of the outcomes that could potentially happen, just more darts. And it just feels like this year could be one of the best ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the new format because there's more players. It means potentially some slower games maybe at the start of the tournament and some easier quote unquote routes. But like you just never know what it's going to throw up, and I just don't think it's fair to 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 say that it's not going to be as high quality or anything like that because the only reason it's got to this level is because the standard has been raised so much in darts at the moment. So I think it's a great thing, and I think you agree with me.
I think unless you watched Michael Barnard versus Jose de Souza in the afternoon session in about 2019 or whenever it was, never complain about darts ever because, like you said, the quality is allowed for this. Yes, some of the first round ties aren't as juicy as we would have got last year. I think the seeds have got easier runs per se, but I think that allows for some people that potentially don't get the shine that the seeds do throughout the entire year to go on runs, have those fairy tale stories. And I think there's a lot more room for that. And I also think I liked where the seeds came in at the second round, but now there is no excuse for anyone. Everyone starts at the same level. The only difference is the seeds play an unseeded player. But other than that, everyone starts in the last 1-2-8, and you've got to win. I don't know how many games, can't bother to work it out, but you've all got to win the same amount of games to become world champion. So there's no excuse for anyone. Everyone's on the level playing field.
Yeah, it will make a difference for those seeds as well, who are used to only having to play one less game before Christmas as well. And it does
Yeah.
affect your preparation. I mean, people like Luke Littler, for example, we're obviously going to have to talk about him quite a bit, reigning world champion. But him, we know he didn't even like taking one day off the other week. How is he
Yeah.
going to fare when what does he do in between that first game and that second game? Stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how some of them cope to getting back on the board. Some might like players like Joe Cullen, for example, probably prefer an extra game to try and play themselves into a bit of form. But then you just never know what's going to happen. And like you say, it opens it up to more shocks and surprises. And you
I
spoke
think I
about,
think a lot of people speak about I just want to get past Christmas.
yeah,
But now they've got to win two to get past Christmas. And I think it gets more stressful as it goes on. But I also feel like the people who travel in,
mm,
who sometimes have to spend Christmas overseas at in London, might feel more rewarded after having won two games before that, rather than thinking, "Oh, I'm only in the second round, and I'm staying for Christmas." Whereas if you win two, now you're thinking, you know what, this is probably worth it.
yeah, no, it does make a big difference. And on that, we should jump straight into our little predictions for the
Let's do it.
tournament. We've
Let's
got a few different categories written down here that we're going to compare and talk about. And but there's just so many. I think there's so many new players and so many players coming back as well this year that I'm excited to watch. For example, I don't know off the top of my head, Simon Whitlock, Mervyn King, both
Yep.
returning.
Cristo
Chris
Reyes.
Reyes, yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Reyes, and not a bad draw for him either. Perhaps there'll be more on that later. But first of all, going to start with who is going to be your dark horse for this tournament? Someone who you think could actually go on a run and potentially go all the way.
Okay, so I was humming and hawing between a couple. Um, I was thinking maybe Ross Smith, but I don't want to predict that and then him lose first round because he's got a very tricky first round game.
As
My dark horse, you'll probably be delighted to know, is the machine gun Jermaine Watamena. I'm tired of writing him off. He's just so good, and his side of the draw having it's a very good side of the draw. It's got
yeah,
the likes of Gary Anderson, Michael Van Gerwen, but I think those players suit him. I think
hmm
he's better off being in that side of the draw rather than being on the side of your methodical
yeah,
Danny Nopperts, your James Wades, those sorts of players. I feel like him versus Gary Anderson would be such a free flowing game that
yeah,
allows them both to play really well. But yeah, I think Watermain has got a quarter final run in him somewhere. And the thing is that the why I put him as a dark horse and not a surprise package is because he has the ability to win it. He
yeah.
most likely won't, but you saw what he did to Littler at the World Match Play. He was this close to beating him. He has the potential to beat anyone on his day.
Yeah, I think that is the main difference when you're talking dark horse. It is someone who you actually believe could win it. And for those of you who are unaware, the reason I'll be delighted by that is I do have a list of players that I've always said since it would have been at least 2 years, maybe even longer
Since
now.
I've known you,
Yeah, at least 2 to 3 years who I've thought have that potential to go on and get better. And they are Jermaine Mortamina, Brendan Dolan, who's the only one on the list who I'd say is kind of off it now. He's dropped down a little bit, but he's just on his day. You felt he could beat anyone if he starts slow. He'll have you. Cameron Menzies, Ryan Joyce, and I think those two again. The last couple of years, they've been incredible,
yeah,
and they've gone on to some incredible things. But anyway, my dark horse is going to be Dirk van Dijvenbode.
yeah, I like it.
Dirk van Dijk, and just looking at, it was more looking at his quarter of the draw. This is a player who we've seen win games. We've seen him reach a final before, which he lost. We've seen him do well at Ali Pali as well. So I think he could actually go on. Looking at his quarter of the draw, he's playing Andy Baines first off. And then he's got, if he wins that, the winner of James Farrow or Stowe Bunce. And then potentially a third round tie with Stephen Bunting. And Stephen
What's it called?
Bunting has been struggling.
Yeah,
I think he's been struggling, and I think Dirk, if he gets at him, starts power scoring, he could easily put Bunting in some trouble. And he's the type of player, like we said, you won't get nervous at the finish line. I think he could go on and beat him. And then even moving further forward, the next got to draw. It's well, the highest seed he would face with them, Martin Schindler. And then going to the other side, you got the likes of Ross Smith, Michael Smith. I just think it's such an open quarter, and he
it
could
is. Yeah.
easily be seeing himself in at least a quarter final. And once he's there, if he's playing some good stuff, similar to what you were saying with Ross Smith, either of them could go on and serious inroads this year.
And I wanted to put a dark horse from that half of the draw, but I feel like there was too many that I
Yeah,
thought they could all knock each other out. So that's sort of why I went for the complete opposite side, just so I could pick one straight because I have too many that I think could
yeah,
pull it out in that half of the draw. So I think you're right to go Dirk.
yeah. That just does remind me as well that Martin Schindler was the fifth person. I realised I didn't say him before.
Yeah,
Uh, he is also that.
Dirk
He was
Shindy.
the other one I was umming and ahhing about, but I just think while he's won a Euro Tour now and he's proven himself, he's just still not quite doing it in the big games and big
Yeah.
moments. And I think Dirk van Dijvenbode is a fair shout. So we will move on to the surprise package. You said you didn't quite fancy him as a surprise package. Who is yours?
Yeah, so I went back to this side of the draw where you said about Dirk,
Yep.
and I know he's been struggling a lot recently, but Ryan Searle has it in him to go on a ridiculous run at some point. And genuinely, I was looking at his side of the draw. Chris Lambert first, a quick player, suits Ryan Searle to a T. I think Ryan Searle will storm through that. Plays the winner of Brendan Dolan and Tavis Dudene. Again, I think Ryan Searle gets through that fairly unscathed. I could see him not dropping many sets to go. And then he's got the winner. He's probably got Martin Schindler. If he makes it through that, I'm thinking either Dirk or Bunting, and he's got the ability to beat any of them. And I just feel like I'm saying a surprise package because he didn't even enter the Grand Slam qualifier. Like he
Bothered.
couldn't be bothered.
It's going to be
He
bothered.
just couldn't be bothered. But I feel like that might have done him good to take a
Yeah.
little break, come back, and the set play is such a Ryan Searle format to
Yeah.
excel at. So yeah, that's why I've gone for him.
So is a good player. He's another one I was and like we were saying that quarter so open. And he's
Yeah.
another one I was considering for a run. Really, we could be completely wrong, and Bunting could just fly through it
Yeah.
as would be expected on a number 4 seed. But they're all good players in their own right, and Searle's definitely someone. But I've gone from the same quarter again, and I've gone a little bit. It maybe it's my heart over my head a little
Gonna
bit,
think he's on it.
but I've gone with Jose de Souza. And we mentioned him earlier, and I love him. I love this man. When he won the
Special
Grand
one.
Slam, I got a signed print straight away, and it's up on my wall at home. He is. I love that man. But I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking he's been playing some decent stuff recently. He
He
was
has, yes,
easily
yes.
the best one in the scorecard qualifier. He played some good stuff. He came out of it. He almost threw it away at the end, but he came through. And I'm looking at it, he's at Pikachu first round. I think people are going to be on Jose's side there a little bit. And I don't
100%.
know. It could all go there. And Pietreczko should win that and probably will. But if he does suddenly start playing, start hitting those 180s and get him a little bit off put, Pietreczko, I think he could come through that. And then he's got Sherrick or Chisnell. And it is Sherrick or Chisnell. We don't know who's going to win
Yeah.
that one.
Do you know, I
And
tell you what though, if D'Souza and Chisnell are both firing at the same time, you
yeah,
could see a record amount of 180s hit in a second round game.
again, you
It's
should.
unlikely they're both playing the best they can, but
I mean, that would be
if
back in 2020, maybe. But
yeah,
and then again, moving forward, then it'd be Ross Smith. So, and the reason he's only a surprise player is because I'm not expect. This is someone we're not expecting to go all the way.
yeah,
Like, is someone who could make a little inroads or run that surprises people. And I think he might not even get far enough to keep his tour card, but he'll go to Q Squad. I think he'll get them again anyway. But
yeah.
I don't know. I just think he's got seems to have this little bit of new lease of life, and I kind of believe, and I just believe he's going to go far enough to keep his tour card. So
Good old Jose.
moving on, we'll go for the tie of the first round, and I've got a couple here because I couldn't really decide.
Yeah, I've done two as well, and I'm going to beat you to this one because I think it's the obvious one. Ross Smith versus Andreas Harrison is the pick of the bunch, in my opinion. Andreas Harrison is such a strange character, not as a person, just his darts wise, is that I don't think he's shown PDC audiences enough how good he can actually be. I think the Moda Super Series has seen how good he can be. I think loads of other places have seen how good he can be, but
Yeah,
he's the
nine.
sort of player that I sit there watching like the World Cup, and I'm like, this Sweden team, if they had Andreas Harrison, with all due respect to Oscar Lukajiak,
Yeah,
like a Jeffrey de Graaf Andreas Harrison team is phenomenal. And I was sat there like, Andreas Harrison has the ability to go so far, and I just don't think he shows it. And then you've got Ross Smith that is just there as like a worldie, like he can have a worldie, and they're both so good that I really hope it's a good game for the sake of people watching, because I also think they've both got levels where they can drop, but I can't see one of them playing so much better than the other, which is why I think it'll be so close. And I'll let you rebuttal just in case I say the second and it's one of yours.
okay. Well, Ross Smith, first of all, seems to have that little bit of habit of coming into players playing out of their skin. And I
Yeah.
did hover over that one and think it could be. I mean, it wasn't that long ago Harrison hit a nine. I think it was on the Pro Tour. Like he plays some good stuff. Like I say, I don't think he's shown it enough. And this is players like him. This is the perfect opportunity, the biggest
Yeah.
stage of them all. Show what they can do. And I did hover over that one for a little bit, but I haven't. That's not even my two. And this one, I have to admit, it is heart over head a little bit. But I have gone with Connor Scott, Simon Whit. I don't know what
The
when that
Battle of the Scallops.
about I thought the exact same thing as you, and I don't know why. I just got a little bit excited. And Whitlock's back, and I know he hasn't been playing like he used to, but if he gets scoring, and he's going to have been practicing, he's playing good enough to have got there.
Yeah.
If he gets scoring, and Connor Scott continues playing as well as he can, it could be an absolute
I
incredible
hope
game.
so. I do
And
hope
I
so.
hope so too, more than anything. Do you want to go ahead with the one your main one
Yeah.
then? I'll go first.
So I've become of recent a massive fan of Karol Sedlacek. I just think he's brilliant. And I think him versus Vessel Nyman is such a good prospect of a really, really good game. And I think Vessel Nyman wins the game because I've got him and Humphreys having a really good game in further rounds. But man, Karol Sedlacek is just one of those players that what doesn't let you win easy. Like he's always there on like a two darter or a one darter right behind you. And hopefully he shows it against Nyman, because even when he made the Grand Slam, I think he was like one of the only Grand Slam qualifiers to like not make it out the groups, but it wasn't on him. He had a very, very good
Mm.
tournament. He just couldn't get over the line. But hopefully, him Nyman is a good game. So that's my second tie of the round.
Yeah, Sedlacek, really nice guy as well, and I think there's more to come on that later, is all I'm going to say. But my tie of the first round, I've got Menzies Manby, and I
Yeah.
think
Oh, yes, of course.
there's a potential of it being falling flat because we know Menzies sometimes gets up on the stage and all goes wrong for him. We know Manby is capable of some incredible stuff. He's
Yeah.
never been on a big PDC stage before, so it could go wrong. But I think if they both come out firing, that would be one people are watching, people are going wow, and
Yeah.
it could go either way as well is the main thing there. But that's one I'm going as my tie the first round just because they could produce an absolute classic, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
and
do
we'll move
agree with that. And
to our shock of the first round
yeah.
because again I wrote down two, but I've just about settled on one. My shock is Karol Sedlacek, Evil Charlie.
Yes.
I,
Evil Charlie.
he like everything you said before. He's been playing well. He was
Yeah.
good at the Grand Slam, even though it didn't quite work out for him. And I don't know. I just looking at that tie, and I just think he's he's kind of like a Nyman lower level, like the Ratajski kind of thing, where you know you're not going to
Yeah.
get a terrible game. He's not going to average too low. He might not average ridiculously, but he's steady. And if Nyman has struggled a little bit on the big stage, and I think Sedlacek could come out on top with
Yeah,
it.
if Nyman doesn't take his chances, he will be punished, and I
Yeah.
think that's what's so enticing about that game. So I do like that actually.
Mhm.
Um, Myself, it kind of lends into what you've just said, just on the opposite scale. So I've gone Charlie Manby to beat Cameron Menzies. I completely forgot to put it in my tie of the round. I was like, oh my god, what a game!
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so high on Charlie Manby at the moment. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He won Modus Champions Week. Now that is a really really tough tournament to win, especially with the way Tom Sykes had been playing
Yeah.
going into
Some
that.
player. Some player just
So but yeah, but Manby at such a young age, and Menzies, you have no idea what you're getting with him.
literally.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Manby is that he's so consistent at the moment, and he was unlucky not to go further up the order of merit on the development tour to get a
Yeah.
tour card. I
So
think he'll
close.
quite easily get it through Q School, to be honest. And yeah, I just think Menzies on the Ali Pali stage. I mean, last year, what happened? Like, you have no idea what's going to happen with him. So I think I don't want to call it an upset, but seeding wise, it is. So I think
Yeah.
Charlie Manby does win, but I don't think it's as big of an upset as it could be made out to be by Sky or whatever.
Yeah. The other one I had down there was Alex Spellman to do Gabriel Clemens, just because again he struggled a bit at the start in the Grand Slam, then he kind of got a bit found his feet a bit, and I don't think he played that bad. And Clemens hasn't been the level we've seen from him previously, so but I wasn't convinced enough to go with it, so I went with Sedlacek in the end. But we'll move on to our Rashad Sweeting, our cult hero of the year. Who are the fans going to walk away talking about loving, and it's gonna go viral just because of the kind of guy they are? Who have you got?
So I've gone with Peter Wachuri's spirit animal in David Manua from Kenya. He will play Mike Dedeku. He's the first Kenyan to ever qualify for Ali Pali. The Vuvuzelas hopefully will be out. I mean, you can imagine that in the crowd. Nah, he's just great. I mean, there was someone going around on Twitter the other day that he couldn't afford to get
Yeah,
to London, and this I think it was Andy Robson, this betting
football
tipster,
tips. Yeah,
sponsored him. And then there's this whole thing, and he's gonna have like choo choo on his shirt, and they did a video saying it. He just seems like such a top tier bloke.
yeah,
And to be honest, I think he struggles to win a leg. But if he does, it'll be one of those ones where he's about to get whitewashed, wins a leg, turns to the crowd, and he's just loved forever. He's forever immortalized in the Ali Pali crowd. So yeah,
yeah. I've obviously gone with him as well because there's
yeah,
there's no other answer really. But I did want to also throw in. I wanted to find the time to throw in a little word for Jesus Salate
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
I mean it's look at how good Argentina were surprising people at the World Cup, and he's a relatively unknown, and they can throw a lot of stuff. They've got thrown a lot of stuff at him at the World Cup, and they played really well. And they made it through out of the group stage, and he's got Ryan Meikle, and then potentially the winner of Richie Edhouse or Johnny Tartar.
It
And I
could go
just
on a
think
run.
he could go on a little run
Yeah,
because he's solid from what I've seen so far. Obviously, it's been a long time since the World Cup, and I haven't seen anything since then. But I don't know. And it wasn't like he's obviously. I don't think he's going to be that cult hero sort of fan favorite, but I think he could get people talking a little bit. And I wanted to find a time to just throw in a little word for him. So I've just
I
gone
like
there.
that.
Right, moving on. We'll go with our. Who do you reckon is going to hit a nine darter, or if there's a few that one of the nine darters, first nine dart, whatever you want to take it as, who do you think could hit a nine darter?
Um, I think there's going to be a few this year. I think with the amount of games, the amount of quality
Well,
that's in darts at the moment,
you're relying on it, aren't you, for your
I
wagers?
am relying on it. Yeah, I mean, I think the top comment is go to Q school with the worst darts I own. So
Brass darts, I
please,
think it was.
please be a
Um,
non-starter.
so yeah,
Um,
checked out Kachow darts.
oh,
Go have a look. Go like some videos. Get him up the list.
I've got a certain amount of challenges on my way. This
I
all could
think
be gone. I
I
could
think
run a
you'll be doing a
marathon.
marathon. I think that one's going to happen.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think there'll be three or four. I think you'll match the record from 2022.
Yeah,
I could see Littler getting more than one. I
yeah.
think I
If he
think there's
gets
a real possibility for someone to get more than one. I think if he gets the monkey off his back
mm,
in the first round, first or second round, then hit later rounds. I mean, if it comes to some of the games he could have, I mean, even if Joe Cullen plays to how he usually does against title favourites, there could
mm,
be a nine in that game because he might need one.
yeah.
So yeah,
No, no. I mean, it's the obvious one. I tried to not be as obvious. I've gone with Josh Rock. I just
yeah,
think he's threatening it. He obviously had that one at the match play where he didn't even get a chance to throw for it.
yeah.
Uh, and I just think it's been a long time since we've seen a proper Josh Rock nine. And I think he screams nine darter on the
Got it.
iPads.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah,
He will go absolutely balmy if he does it. So I think Josh Rock is finally going to break his little duck and hit one. So moving swiftly on, then the biggest flop, biggest, one of the maybe potentially favourite sort of people expected to go far who you don't think will.
yeah. I think this person goes out in either the second round or the third round. Um, I think James Wade doesn't have a great tournament. I think he's had a phenomenal year. I just can't see it happening, and I think the PDC will be rubbing their hands together, knowing that they don't have to put him in the Premier League because yeah, he's on the same side of the draw as he could meet Jan van Veen. I don't think he makes it that far. I think he either gets done by the winner of Ricky Evans and Manlock Lung because
Yep.
Ricky Evans has been playing phenomenal recently, and I can't see Wade making it further than Charlie Manby. To be honest, I think it's one of those things where Wade is not a set play player, and Ricky Evans, Manlock Lung, Cameron Menzies, and Charlie Manby all have bursts where they go mental, and I don't know if Wade can. By all means, he can keep up with it, but I can't see him doing enough to win that game. So
Yeah.
controversial, maybe, but I think his walk on will be longer than his stint in the Worlds.
As yeah, the age old walk on, which he does like to take his time now, doesn't he?
Don't he?
No, it's an interesting one. I kind of disagree with you. I think Wade is gonna come through that little court of it there.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's just something about James Wade. I just think it. He's got past that point of it being on his mind about never making a world final, never winning the world championship.
yeah,
And I just think he's got back to this point of playing with a bit more freedom. And he's playing some of his best stuff for a few years again. Wade will go and Wade will come. We know that,
yeah.
and I just think he is going to continue into next year as well, playing some really good stuff. I thought you were going to say Bunting, to be honest. Um,
No, I quite like Bunting at the moment, but
really,
I
see, I've got
understand why. Yeah,
Bunting and Clayton, I think, are both struggling a bit, and there are other seeds that could drop. I think a lot of people for this question would say Rob Cross, but I don't think that's actually fair. If you give me a second to find his I think he's actually not got that tough
I, I
of
think
run.
he's got core Decker.
He has Corteca first, I know that, and I'm trying to find who he would have after that. But I had a look at it earlier today, and I just
Yeah.
don't think it's actually that bad. We'll have more on that in a second. But I've gone with Jan
I
Van
got
Ven.
Ian White and Mervyn King. I can see.
I've gone with
Um,
Jan Van Ven.
yeah.
Yeah, again, that's another like anything could sort of happen. But I've gone
Yeah.
with Jan Van Ven, which I know could
Wow.
be
Wow.
quite,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, quite a controversial one. I know he struggled recently in the World Championships, yet to win a
Yeah.
game on the stage.
Yes. True.
That's not why I've gone for it. And I think that obviously will play a factor. But Cristo Reyes, obviously, he's going to Q school. I don't know if you've seen, he's going to go to
I
Q
have.
school
So yeah. Yeah.
in January. So he's another one who we're going to expect some good stuff from. Then he could potentially have Alan Suter, who loves a big stage.
Good old suits.
And this is, again, someone who, if he starts doing stuff and getting the crowd on his side and all of that, another place he could fall crop at. And then Dimitri van den Berg, I've seen recently, has been talking the game again. I know he's
Mm,
had a terrible year and he's had a lot of stuff
big
going on, and
shout.
he's taken a step back, but he's back, and I think he's playing with freedom now. No one's expecting anything from him, and I
Hmm.
think he could just suddenly come out the traps, do Darren Beveridge, then Rasmus or Van der Herrick win that. And if it is Van Ven, I could see him causing an upset because when Dimmy is on it, prime Dimmy, beard, dream maker dancing at the World
Yeah.
Match
Yeah.
could come back.
You know he's on it if he starts tapping to his head after a 140 or something. If he starts doing that, then
Yeah.
Van Veen better lock in.
So that's why I've gone with Jan Van Ven. And I think the no win on the stage could play a factor, but I don't think that's the reason I've gone with him, if that makes
I think
sense.
that's quite interesting that we've both gone for someone in the exact same quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally could get so one of them will probably be the biggest flop. It just depends which. I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
they both could play each other when they're meant to be. I think that'd be in the round of
Six
16.
rounds? Yeah. Six.
Yeah. So, I mean, that prove us both wrong, really. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bold shout, but I like it.
I generally think it wasn't just like, oh, he'll lose again on a stage. It was we've thought about it, and I think it's a fair thing. Yeah, and you were right, by the way. It is Ian White or Mervyn King.
Yeah.
Then potentially it's another open little bit there because Rob Cross, Damon Heta in the third round. Would it be the third? Yeah, could be one of the most stinking games that has
I
ever
just
been.
don't think Rob Cross losing anymore is floppy. Like,
Neither do
is it
I.
a flop?
Neither do
Cordecker's playing some great darts. I think Cordecker's playing better than Rob Cross at the moment, so
and
I
he
wouldn't
lost at
call
the
it a
players.
flop.
He lost at the Players Championship, and everyone the very first game. Once he always seems to play early, doesn't he? And
Yeah,
everyone's going like, "Oh, it's another massive shot." It's not. You
no,
expect
not at
that
all.
now. No, not many
Yeah,
people were backing Rob Cross there, so I don't know. But moving on then to what I call the Scotty Williams. You call it the Callum Ritz,
yeah, yeah.
the player who could end up going on a run really far potentially maybe and then do nothing for a year 2 years and everyone suddenly knows their name and goes, oh, what happened to him? Well, I haven't seen him much this year
Yeah, yeah.
because he's not actually that good. Who have you gone with?
If you cast your mind back to the 2022 Grand Slam, a certain old man went on a fairly decent run. My stocks in Raymond van Barneveld will never die, and I think Barney's going to go on a run. I'm not going to say where to, but a run where people go, "Oh, he's not back, is he?
He's
Is he?"
not back.
The Tiger starts coming on, and everyone's like, and Barney goes, "Yeah, I'm not done yet." And then a month later, when he's lost in the first round of three back-to-back Pro Tours, he goes, oh, "I'm considering retirement." It's the Barney we all know and love. When he's playing well, let's get back in the top 16. Let's do this, let's do that. If he's playing bad, retirement's just round the corner. He's the Paul Scholes in his late 30s of darts, retiring, coming back, retiring, coming back. Barney's got a really tough game against Stefan Belmont. I think that's a coin toss. I think that
Yeah,
could go either way. But if he wins, I do like him against Heta or Lennon because I think the crowd will be on Barney's side. I think the Barney army, once he wins his first game, will be out in full force. And then it sort of opens up to like the Rob Cross Core Decker part of the draw where he could go on a run. But I just can't see him excelling past there. I still think he's a between 30 and 40 in the world rankings for the foreseeable.
yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a kind of Peter Wright beating Humphries last year.
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
it could be a bit of a last hurrah. I've gone with Dom Taylor, and I think
Yeah, I
this
like
is
it.
an interesting one because this is a lot of people are picking him as a surprise package or to go on a run sort of thing. And I'm not saying it's not warranted because this is literally me saying I think he might. But I just think looking at his draw, he's got Oscar Lucasio, who has now got two mentions throughout this podcast, which is amazing.
Could I ask it? Should we get him on?
If you're out there and you fancy it,
He
and
lags
then
when he throws. I love it.
yeah, and then he's got potentially Clayton or Lipscomb. We already mentioned
Yeah,
Clayton, someone who could come on start there. Alan Lipscomb has been playing some fantastic stuff.
yeah,
And if his
yeah,
head's switched on, he could easily do Johnny Clayton there. The way Clayton's ended the year started incredibly, not really gone his ways since the last half of the year. So I think again he could come through that, and then you're looking at the Michael Smith, Ross Smith sort of kind of the draw, and you're thinking again he could just have his way a little bit, and I can see him
he
going
could.
deeper in the tournament than he should be, which is kind of the point of this. And then everyone going like he's the next big thing, he's incredible, like all of this, all of that, like, and then all of a sudden it comes to next year and you go, why hasn't he been in majors? Why haven't I seen his name on
Yeah,
TV anymore? And suddenly you're back at the World Championships and you're like, why is he outside the top 40? Like, do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And I don't know. I just think everyone's kind of expecting a bit more than him. And so I think he's a fair shout to go deep because of his quarter of the draw and that. But I think he could end up going further than he should, and perhaps his darts warrant him going. But at the same time, he's a quality player, and I could be completely wrong.
Do you know if you said that last year, I
Yeah,
would have completely disagreed and I would have said, no, he's flying up the rankings. He will keep going. This year, he's stagnated a lot. And I
yeah,
feel like, yeah, I think you're right. He's sort of, he's exactly where he should be,
yeah,
other than he would have had a bit of world's money last year. He'll comfortably keep his
yeah.
tour card, I think. But from then, does he excel too much? Because he'll be defending a decent amount from last year. So yeah, I do see your point. I think he's a really good player that I don't know the full story, but he missed two big tournaments at the end of last year, which hurt him a lot in terms of prize money, and he hasn't really built upon it this year.
Definitely. And I just think he could be getting a little bit of extra hype because you're kind of an unknown quantity at the World Championships and that. But I just think he could end up going on a bit of a run this year, and it will be the last you sort of see of him.
Yeah, yeah,
But we'll have to see because there's still a long way to go in his career, and he's clearly got capable darts to make some inroads. But I'm just not convinced it will happen.
yeah.
And now we move on to the big one, the final. So we'll start first of all with your runner-up, and I think you'll be interested to hear my runner-up. It's a bit of a out there.
Um, I don't think you'll like my runner-up because you reckon he's going out quite early. But I think, yeah, I'm going with the European champ. I think Jan van Veen makes the final. To be honest, I think that side of the draw has got some really good prospects. I think Nathan Aspinall, Luke Humphreys. I think they're all capable of getting there. But yeah, Jan van Veen, I feel like this is the year he breaks the duck, and he doesn't just break the duck; he smashes it, and he goes really far. And yeah, and I hope he does because he's had a fantastic year. He'll definitely be in the Premier League, and I hope he does because the consistency he plays at, you sometimes just know when he's getting that
Yeah.
treble, and I think yeah, I just really hope for his sake he breaks that duck, and then the monkey's off his back, and he can go and smash it and make it as far as he can. So yeah, Van Veen's my runner up.
I hope he does well as well. Like this wasn't me wishing.
No, yeah,
I just think he could go out early, and one of us is probably going to be right. I think it's all or
well,
nothing with
100%, yeah,
early doors and
all or
flops
nothing.
again, or he flies into that final or at least the semi-final. But I've gone someone you've just mentioned actually same quarter draw again. I've gone with Nathan Aspinall. I think
Yeah, yeah,
he's had his problems, he's had his struggles with dartitis, but he is throwing now, I think, smoother than he ever has before.
he is
He
indeed,
looks
yeah,
better. He looks more confident. He's reached the final the other weekend at the Players, and I think he's playing the darts of his life. And think of it, his darts of his life now. He's already a world match play champion. He's already won a UK Open when he was literally nobody, kind of. And it's like um, I just think he's going to go and fly up and reach the final this year. And I could even see him winning it. I could
Do you
even
know
see.
what?
I think this
Yeah,
might be his
I
best
like
chance
it.
to win it.
I like it. I think the regularity he's hitting his 1080s at the moment and his big finishes, he's never out of a leg.
Yeah.
Sort of like what Bunting was last year. He'd hit a big score and then hit a big checkout. I think
Mm.
Aspinall's more likely to do that at the moment, but I also think Aspinall's more likely to take a big scalp. So, like when Bunting made the semi-finals last year, it felt like that was it, and
Yeah.
it felt like it was a inevitability that Littler beat him. If Nathan Aspinall makes the semi-finals or the final, I think yeah, he could beat anyone. So I could see it. I could see it definitely.
He's also the kind of person to beat Shan Van Ven. So
Well, they will have to play. So yeah,
yeah.
I like it.
Go on. Who is your champion then? Your winner of the World Championships 2026.
Sorry to bore you all, but I don't really want to run a marathon with no training. And for that reason, why I put that bet on is because I can't see any other person winning the World Darts Championship other than Luke the Nuke Littler. I think it's a formality. I think his side of the draw is not easy, but a lot of his title rivals will be gone before he has to play them. I think the majority of them are on the Van Veen, the Humphreys side. I think that the hardest person he'll have to beat before the finals, Gerwyn Price. That's if Gerwyn Price makes it to him. I think we're relying on a lot of ifs and buts for him not to win it, and you've got to get him early. And to be honest, I don't see anyone winning 7 sets before Luke Littler does. So
Yeah.
Luke Littler's my champion.
Sorry to bore you all. Mine is the same, but it
Yeah,
just has to be, doesn't it? And
yeah,
I think we are going to see the first person to defend the title since Gary Anderson.
that's mental.
It is mental, and I just can't. Again, I can't see him being stopped before the final, because
Nope.
I was looking down, in depth reading them all, just trying to think who has the game to do it, and unless Labanauskas gets him out early,
Oh, lucky D.
like the minute he gets to the third round after Christmas, he'll be facing. He could be anyone from that Joe Cullen, Mensa Sulovic, maybe Heta, Barney, Cross, whatever. You just fancy him to come through it. And then again, like you said, Goen Price or potentially the boy Ryan Joyce, another one who could easily go on a run.
Yeah,
He came the closest to beating him
he did
last.
indeed. Yeah,
I think he could do it similar again this year. But like you say, and the longer the games get, just the harder it gets to beat him. And I could easily see him lifting that trophy for the second time in as many years. And it's just, I think the final is the only place he's going to be stopped if someone like Aspinall, someone like Van Ven, someone even Luke Humphreys, of course, he hasn't got a mention yet, but is more than capable of retaining that prize money from a couple of years ago.
I think this is the most predictable and the biggest formality since MVG in his prime days winning it. I
Yeah,
think there's this will be the biggest odds-on favourite we've had since those days, and dare I say, it's a start of a little dynasty
I think.
starting here. This could be to complete, to quote Sky Sports from the late 20 or the early 2010s, the greatest year of his life. Um, yeah, I just can't see anyone winning bar him, and I think it's well deserved for someone who is now entering. I think he's probably already in the top 10. I think he's if he wins this, you struggle to keep him out of the top five, say, from next year onwards.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening. That's all we've got time for today. I've been Scott O'Neill, been joined by Kieran Morahan, and this has been the Steady Darts podcast. Thank you.
Take care, guys. See you later.